Welcome to Paper Call Coaching. Today is November 21st. Is that correct? Oh my God, I just got to check that. Yeah, I've got it set for U.S. time. So November 21st, Thursday, 2013. Seems like just yesterday it was the first of the year, and now it's towards the end of the year right now. I really cannot believe how time flies by. And last coaching call, I shared just a little bit of peek about some of the New Year's kind of next year goals, and I encourage everybody to get started earlier. I did want to follow up a little bit with that. I'll get into more detail as we get towards the end of the year, but I would encourage you to start now on your creating your list and creating your action items, and start taking action right now on your New Year's goals that you want to achieve for next year, and get started with them now. So that you can get a head start on it, and ahead of everybody else and ahead of yourself too, because most people would start them in the beginning of the year. And it helped give you a lot of momentum going in here. For me, one of the things that I'm doing, I shared some things on the last call. I'm not going to go over those exact ones again, but you can always watch the replay. But one of the things, this is an addition, is that I'm opening up a new software company. And that is, and I'm opening that up, and actually the corporation is going to be opened up in Hong Kong. So it'll be a third corporation that I have in Hong Kong. So we're flying there on Monday, and then we'll spend all of Thanksgiving, and come back. We're going to spend about 10 days there. And there's a Disneyland there and stuff. So we're taking the kids and everybody. And my in-laws, that's the thing. If you're Asian, you'll understand. If you're you don't fly somewhere else unless you invite your whole damn families. So we have a big crew we're taking. So we rented a house and stuff. But anyways, going to be doing that. The reason that and a lot of people have asked me this, because I mentioned it before. We get some tickets in that come in and ask about Pacific tax questions and advice. I can't give any, but I can just share some of the things I'm doing. But I've decided, I made the decision a while ago that we were going to move my corporations, my banking, myself included, outside of the U.S. I was born in the U.S. I love the U.S. I just really don't like what's happening right now with the government and and what they're doing, and the larger corporations and the kind of control that they have over the U.S. and what they're doing, and on that end of it. And so with we have in the U.S. we have the highest debt of any country in the world. Our currency is also used for basically all international trade for oils, and used as kind of a safe backup currency for countries right now to hold their money if their current dollar is declining and stuff. But we can't go on forever like that. And I'm not a doomsdayer. I'm really hoping that the U.S. can pull this out, but it's just we've exported all of our jobs, and some of our smartest people are moving out of the U.S. So there's a brain drain going on. They're moving on to other places that are more friendly, that have less regulations. There was an article the other day I was reading where a girl. Our three sisters, they're little sisters, they opened up a lemonade stand, and the police came by. It's just in their neighborhood, and the police came by and said, you have to have a permit to do this. And the parents actually went to go find out what it would take to get a permit just to sell lemonade for kids. And it would cost them over $450 to do, and it was almost a 21-day process. So that's ridiculous. And that's just for small business, and that's what the U.S. is built around. And most bread and butter U.S.-based companies, which are the smaller companies that are hiring anywhere maybe from 2 to maybe 10 employees. The owners work really hard. I mean, they're probably working the hardest, 60, 80, sometimes 100-hour weeks, and they're making around $250,000 probably to around $500,000. And those are the people that are getting taxed the highest. And with Obamacare coming up, and that's just a whole nother nightmare. But anyways, here when we live in Korea for healthcare, we don't You don't have to make appointments to go see a specialist. We pay $6 a month per child. We get outstanding health care at any time. And the health care is not hand you pills and we want to cut you up. It's really all about, a lot of the doctors here actually recommend stuff like acupuncture, alternative medicines. Definitely they're asking about your diet, what you're eating, stuff like this. Natural ways to increase your own defense system and your immune system. There's if you find an obese person here in Korea, it's pretty amazing. It's very, very rare. And the people are very health conscious and all that. And anyways, their healthcare system is not run and operated and controlled ultimately by big pharma. Anyways, I go on forever about this kind of stuff, and that's not what you guys are here for. So, but anyways, getting back just real quickly. So that's one of my goals, and I'm not waiting. Okay, so I'm going to Hong Kong to open up another corporation, which is really easy to do, by the way. It only costs about, to have someone else do all the work, only costs about $450 US. You do have to go there in person is the only drawback. And then once you have that, then you just walk into a bank the next day, you open up a business account, you got your passport. That's it. You're done. You're ready for business. You can get a PayPal account, merchant account, all that kind of stuff. And the thing is I can hold the money that I make in any currency that I want and switch it over to any currency that I want, it's a banking hub around the world. This is not about tax avoidance or evasion. I'm 100%, above board on all my taxes. But the thing is that my Hong Kong corporation, I can deduct through Hong Kong law. I can deduct everything. I mean every little kind of expense for my business. Whereas for the U.S., those kind of expenses for the good, legitimate, common business expenses, they're dwindling. That list is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's because the government is in greater and greater debt, and they're starving for more tax dollars, and they just need to shrink their. They could tax more, but don't tax the people that are making the jobs happen. Get off the whole nanny state and the welfare system, and then incentivize people with behaviors that are going to create and add value to the culture, not scare people out of there. I mean, there's a reason why, some of the best companies out there have the majority of their company, if not all of it, outside the United States. This includes Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Walmart, all kinds of companies like that. Anyways, and then I'll operate actually that business not in Hong Kong, but I'll operate it in Malaysia. So we'll spend a month in Malaysia. So we're going to fly, spend Christmas basically in Malaysia. And I'll be, speaking to attorneys and setting up an account there, a business account there. But the parent company is out of Hong Kong, and the tax advantages to that. There's huge tax advantages to that, and that's why I'm doing that kind of strategy. And then the Hong Kong company opens up a separate base in Malaysia. I get paid as an employee, and you can, even if you're owner of it, and so does my wife, and the company pays us each. I think it's next year it'll be a little bit more, but this year it was $93,000 US, 100% tax free, 100% legal. Of course, we file our taxes with the U.S., but because we are now, my kids and my wife are now citizens, have dual passports. I'll have my second passport shortly. Which is another good strategy to have, is to get a second passport. But that's my goals. That was one of the many goals that I put down for next year. I'm obviously not waiting for next year. I'm prepping and planning so that I can start the new year and have all of the motion in forward and going that. And keep in mind that the goals that I'm sharing with you right now did not happen overnight. It's not like I woke up one day in this, and this is a accumulation, a process of, constantly moving forward and constantly practice massive and perfect action and just picking away at it every single day. And some days you have big wins and some days you don't. But, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, you look back and you've made a tremendous amount of progress. But you stay focused and you keep pushing forward and forward and forward. And there's absolutely no difference between people out there who achieve, incredible things and just other people who don't. It's just determination. That's all it is. Just determination, and every day just pecking at it just a little tiny bit. And I've talked about before about being in the 1%. What does it take to be in the 1%? It doesn't take that much. It takes about 10% extra work every single day consistently than everyone else will do. Okay, so if everyone else out there is working, 8 hours a day, you might work 9 hours a day, but you're consistent at it. You're not just doing it 1 week or 2 weeks. You're consistent at it, and that adds up, and that's going to put you in the 1%. And the 1% gets all the privileges, has all the freedoms, and all that end of it. So anyways, let me get started here. What we're going to start with today, we have some really great questions on here. And I got a couple of them at the last minute, so I was able to get those into on the slideshow. But I wanted to start and talk about some shifts that have taken place in Google Places, and it's very easy to adjust. It took me a while to kind of figure this out. We were noticing this on some of our sites, and I basically kind of counseled some people in the business that I really trust and admire, and then also added in some of our own stuff. So I want to share those with you right now. So I suggest you can always watch the replay, but you may want to take some notes, and if you have some questions, I'll pause after I get done going through these kind of initial changes before I get into the questions that were sent in. So, and thank you for sending the questions, by the way, because the questions are getting better and better. If you didn't watch last week's coaching call, definitely do. It was a great coaching call based on the feedback that we've gotten. And it was because we got some great questions in. So, okay, so let's go ahead and dive in here and look at this. Really want to cover, I'm just going to cover two important updates in Google rankings, and these are really easy to adjust and change. And these are things that you can do if you had a site that was ranking on page 1 and now it's kind of like somewhere like stuck weird, like on page 2 or 3 or 4, and this is happening a lot, by the way. You can go into your site, make these changes, and add 1 or 2 quality backlinks to this, and you'll see it start to rise back up to the top. Okay, so we're going to cover basically this whole kind of adjustments that are taking place. Is Google is really hypersensitive to over optimization. Okay, so the two things we can do to avoid over optimization is kind of revisit how we do our anchor text, and I'm going to go into detail on that, and then really examine our posts and our pages, okay, the titles and the URLs. What kind of keywords are in the URLs and the post and the titles? So it really comes down to keywords that we're using for the anchor text, for our posts and pages. So if you're doing your silo structure, you got your posts going. What I've seen out there, and I've been guilty of it too, but not very much, is like on the post, maybe the title, you'll slip in a keyword in there, and then on the URL, you'll slip a keyword in there. Let me show you a better way to do it, and it will also help correct. And if you were ranking, if your ranking dropped, go back and you can change these things and add 1 or 2 quality backlinks on here. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to add on here. Hold on. This is important because if we're anchor texting and we're doing our backlinks on here, then okay, so this is for the off page. This is just a rough estimate. change the size of this really quickly so it all fits in here. All right. So off-page SEO, the backlinks, and this comes back to the anchor text and as well. It all ties into the anchor text and not over optimization. Less backlinks to the homepage. I've always said, around 80% of your backlinks should be pointing to your homepage, and the rest just randomly to your inner pages, your posts. But I would increase that more. Okay. And so, anyways, so let's hop in here and take a look at the first thing. Okay. All right. So our anchor text. Okay, we're going to go out and so we're going to find keywords. We're going to go over that next, but I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the anchor text. The percentage of your main keywords to your backlinks. Okay, this is both like your internal, because in our posts when we're doing our silo structures, right, we're putting anchor texts in there and we're pointing it back to our homepage or the top of our silo if we've got multiple silos going on our site. We have anchor text going back in there. I would do 10 to 20%, and I would favor on the lower side of your internal external links being kind of your main keyword. Okay, so instead of having maybe like 30 or 40% of your main keyword, which is what I was suggesting before, I would cut that back down, way down, 10, 20%. And that's going to be your main keyword, and that would be both the internal text that you would point back up to your site and also the external. Okay. Only have your main keyword in your URL one time, just once. So for a lot of you, that's going to be your root domain, and nowhere else in your post or nothing else would I put your main keyword. It's just too keyword stuffy right now, and Google is hyper sensitive to it. Yeah, and the reason I know this is because I've gone back to a couple of sites, and normally we never got with our posts that we had. Most of the majority of my offline pay-per-call niche sites we have our main keyword and our URL. And then and it's usually it's one main keyword, and then there's like 5 variations of it that we're ranking for, and then from then on, all the posts that we're adding as part of the silo structure to support the theme of the site and to show Google that that we have a rich content site that we add content regularly to, and to also help rank for all the broad-based different types of terms. We're adding posts that are of the same theme as the theme of the site. But we never got in the habit of putting keyword-rich titles in there, and I was fortunate enough just by accident, and I didn't even realize we were doing it. Is just because of the way that I have my outsourcers do it. I just have my outsourcers. If there's any downtime, it's like, okay, for this particular automotive niche, I need they're producing anywhere from 10 to 14 around 400 page articles that are original, and then we just have a big repository of those, so we're using those and then loading them up, and then I just have them come up with a title, and it was never keyword rich specific, so they just came up with titles that were natural, and those are the sites that worked out just fine. We did have some sites where we had more of the keywords inside the titles of the post, and when I went back and looked at it, yes, it was very kind of spammy looking, and that's where you get in trouble on here. But so anyways, only have your main keywords in your URL once. So if you got whatever your main keyword, just once is enough. Trust me, Google will figure out what your site is about, especially when you do silo structure. And you've got articles in there that would fit that theme. You've got a automotive site, you've got a mobile mechanic site, and you've got some posts on there. One post may be about how to properly change how to charge a battery. How to do the cables correctly. Okay. There's nowhere else in that URL are you going to have additional keywords in there, especially one of your main keywords. Okay. but that's very themed out. That's a topic that would naturally go with what that site is all about. Okay, you might have another post in there that would be, how to change a flat tire on a freeway versus on a dirt road or something like that. And safety. How to change a flat tire. That would actually be the URL. So your main URL might be mobilemechanicaustin.com/how to change your flat tire. There's no keyword stuffing in there, okay? And Google likes that kind of stuff, okay? So we're going to go in. I want to go over how you kind of make your list of keywords that you're going to use for your anchor text, both for your external backlinks and your internal backlinks. Okay, and there's 3 places that we're going to look. We'll go through some examples next. Is your keyword planner, Google suggestions, which are really good, and also looking at your competition. Okay, the first one and the last one I've gone over before, but I'll do it again. The Google suggestions I haven't. And final here, your final mix of keywords, total both internal and external, about 10 to 20% your main keyword, about 60% closely related keyword terms. That's what we're going to do in number 3 here. And then 20% branding, like the company name, whatever company name that you have for your sites, just your URL, click here, check it out, learn more here, etc., that kind of stuff. So it looks very natural. This isn't that much different than what I've suggested before in the past. Okay, it's very close. It's just the main keyword, we're not getting as crazy with it before as much. And before it was really only around 30-40% that I was suggesting anyways. So we're just shifting these numbers over here and being just very careful of the URL. So let's go ahead and take a look at keyword planner, Google suggestions, and competition here. So hopefully I've opened up my account. I've got it set up. And okay, here we go. Keyword planner. Okay. Let me just check the chat box really quickly, make sure that my screen hasn't gone blank. And you guys can still hear me and everything's good with that. Where are we? Here we go. Come on, open up. Yep. Okay. So we're still good. We've got some good questions coming in. When I get done with this particular section of just the keywords, I'll dive into the chat box and answer all the questions. Let me get through this first here. Okay. So I'm just in my keyword planner. So I'm going to go keyword planner. We're going to look at our competition, and we're also going to look at Google suggestions on here. Here, I'll just do a very broad one. Dentist, Phoenix. Just very, very, very broad on that end of it. And just normally on here, just for speed, I'm going to go ahead and just, I'll do it the proper way here. I won't cut any major shortcuts here. So I'll do, I'll set this for Phoenix and just add you should all have used this by now, right? So, you just come on here, click on here, it shows you the map. And then, realistically what you do is you'd want to add, most people in Phoenix, if it's more of a high-end doctor, they're probably going to be willing to go to places like that would have more, like cosmetic dentistry, if that's the niche. And I would probably consider including places like Scottsdale and some of the surrounding areas on here. But for general dentistry, people are usually going to travel fairly close to their home. So I'll just keep this at Phoenix. Otherwise, I would add these other cities, and you can just, it would just show you, just click the nearby, right? And it shows the nearby places. Okay. Now for that, all right. So we're going to go ahead and get ideas. Okay. And my account here, by the way, this is one of my Google AdWords accounts. I've had it for years, and they've just decided to put this big red bar across here to scare me every day that my Google AdWords account contains major or repeated violations. Once you're out with Google, it's like they'll never let you back in. This is like literally like 4 years ago. I ran one little campaign. I was playing around with it, and I paid it and everything, and I canceled it. And for some reason, they slapped this on. I could never run an ad, so I had to create another account. But anyways, doesn't prevent me from using the tool. So go to Keyword Ideas. And so this is about, we're trying to create other keywords. So let's just pretend, for example, that Dennis Phoenix that is the main keyword that we want to rank for. Okay, so I want to get other kind of suggestions on here. Okay, and preferably ones that have some of my main keywords in it here. And I've already gone over how to find keywords, so I'm going to brush over this kind of quickly just for examples. And if you, I do have a video on how to go over this. So I'm going to add this to the group. Let's say I was going after emergency dentist, that would be fine too. That would be something that dentists might have on their site. These are some of the different variations. I don't want to get too crazy with them though. Okay. Dennis Phoenix, sure, we might go cosmetic. Cheap dentist, sure. Children's dentist. Dentist in Arizona, that would be fine. Okay. Sure, implants. Gentle Dental. I think that's probably a franchise if I remember correctly, but that's okay. Alrighty, so normally what I do is I set this to 100 so I can see all of them rather than just 30. And sedation dentistry, yep, that's definitely a word. Maybe cosmetics, Phoenix cosmetic dentistry. Okay, so I've already got like over here it adds them up. So I've already got like 13. Let me just grab another one. So check that out. People do, this is starting to show up more and more in Google. We've seen this before. It's just a little side note. Notice it says dentist and the zip code. Look at that. It's showing 20 exact searches. This is why we put the zip codes at the bottom of the pages. And if you're tracking the way that people find your sites through Google Analytics, or some people suddenly are afraid of using that. We're not, but there are other services out there that aren't related to Google that you could use. But you'll find that you'd be surprised how many people find your site by typing in just the service name plus their zip code. Okay. Okay. Affordable dental care, sure, looks good to me. Okay, so that's about enough. I could go through and find some others on here. So this would be my first kind of source of these. And let me just go ahead. I'll just download this so we can use this. No, I don't need. I'll just do that. Download. And let's open that up. So normally I would go through that more thoroughly like I do in the training, but this is just for examples, a quick demonstration on here. Okay, so here's my keyword. And these are not broad searches, by the way. That's for some reason Google shows that. I think they're probably going to include that in. Anyways, these are the keywords. So these are some of the, my main keyword on here is going to be dentist. Let's say Dennis Phoenix. So we're just going to pretend it's going to be that. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. And where are we at? Clear. Okay, so these are the beginning of my keywords here, which I'm going to use for my anchor text. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this and Just move it down. Okay, so my this would be my main keyword here. Okay, and so let's just, for this example again, it's just going to be dentist Phoenix, and you know, let's say for sake of this that I got, you know, I was able to get the domain www dentistphoenix.com, right? Long gone now, worth probably sell something like that for $20,000. But anyways, so let's say that's my main one. This is some of them. I could have gone on and created some more. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'll take a look at using some of these keywords. I would run through some more on these, but I would take a look at my competition. Okay, so I'm going to copy. You'd be surprised how many different keywords we would find using our keywords. So I'm just going to type this in, and let me make sure that I got the right IP address. Okay, so I got United States here, so I got a San Francisco, and that'll work. If I can just spell, that's all right. Google corrects my spelling all the time, so I never have to learn. All right. So Dental Phoenix on here, and I want to take a look at some of these sites up here that are already ranking on here. This is kind of a general term. This would be actually a term you can actually start to kind of rank for, because when you start to see stuff like Yelp up here, and especially twice on here, and Yellow Pages, that means it's fairly easy to that's a sign that's easy to rank for. Okay, so let me just take a look at this. I'm just going to grab this guy's URL, and then I'm going to go back into the Google AdWords account, and I'm going to modify my search. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, and I'm going to put his page in here, and I'm going to let Google AdWords tool. Remember, this is an AdWords tool. It's important to remember that what is this? What should this be ranking for? What does Google say these are the keywords that are related to the site? And this is it on here. So as always, they got downtown dental, because that's what they are. Dental insurance, no waiting period. I think that's great. Add that in there. They're already ranking up there on the top, right? Low cost dental insurance, that's pretty good. Group dental insurance, sure. Discount dental, great, going for it. That'd be another one I would add. Cheap dentist, I think we might have had that. It won't let me add it if we don't. So there's 19. We're up there. Dental clinic, sure. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of one. Okay, so I've got that. I would go through a couple more home pages, sites like that. And the other thing that I would do too is yeah, wow, look at that. Angie's List, best dental care on here. Look, a lot of things that are, these are some things that are changing. This is, when you're seeing stuff like Yelp, Yellow Pages, these are all citations. White Pages, are you kidding me? Angie's List. This is because Google doesn't think that there are better choices on here. And if you've got a good siloed site and structured the way that I'm showing you, and with the quality backlinks, you're going to rise right up to the top here above this stuff. Okay. The other things that are ranking, I could go on and on about this other kind of stuff. I don't want to diversify. Let me just stick with the topic at hand here. So I might take something like this particular, well, here, I'll just go back here. I would come down, I would do other things. Like, so I would take this site here. Okay, I'm going to take a look at this site, and I'm going to take a look at their source code. And if they've got, if they're using WordPress, which a lot of them are, then I can find out. Okay, so I'll just right click, and I'm taking a look at the source page, and you're going to hit control, I think it was control F. Yeah, control F. No, control G, and then command G. So it opens up this little search tab here, and I just type in keywords. There it is. So I just get my keyword list right there. So I'm already, man, they don't have much, man. This is why they're not ranking. These are their keywords: dental, toothache, pain, just pain. Don't do just pain. You would do dental, toothache would be a good one. Maybe tooth pain, something like that. So these would be maybe some other keywords that I would add to my list. Okay, let me find a better site. This is why they're not. These guys could rank so much higher if they just did that, and I know they don't have any kind of material on here, right? Watch this. This is for a fairly competitive niche, right? Check it out. Let's go ahead and just copy this. It's not rocket science to rank well these days. It really isn't. I'm just curious how many pages they have indexed. 13. This is ridiculously low. They don't have any content. I'm not seeing any content. This is all log in, contact us, our team. There's no added content. There's no silo structure here whatsoever. So there is nothing on here. This is why the silo structure it's becoming more popular. I've been ranting about it for a long time, but it's becoming more and more popular out there. Anyways, so I mean, they were below the fold. They're around 7, right? You could literally add content to this site in the silo structure, and add some quality backlinks to this. These guys would just push right up over above the Google places. Okay, they'd push out those Yelps, and there's 2 Yelps and a Yahoo. That's because Google doesn't. They're like, you're not really a trustworthy site. And look how they did their page 1. I mean, there's not a video, there's not pictures in here, there's no rich content, nothing on this end of it. Anyways, you guys should all know this kind of stuff by now, but so I would go through that site. You can do that stuff, okay? And then the other thing I would do is for other keywords is that I would come in and I would just float right on down here for the main keyword, and I would do this, and I would add some of these on here. So this is maybe not the best one, but these are some of the suggested keywords down here for Dennis Phoenix. Let me type in another. Be more specific. Dentist in Phoenix. Dennis in Phoenix open up Saturday. That's an awesome keyword. Okay, that's an awesome keyword right there. Okay, people are actually searching for it, and so this would maybe I would add that to your keyword list. Okay, Dennis in Phoenix Plaza. That's not very good ones. Sometimes on the next page they'll have better ones. No. Okay. Let me try another one. That's not a good example. This chiropractor in Gilbert, Arizona. Come down here, look at some of their suggestions on here. It's good. These are, even though it's not, you may not be trying to rank for acupuncture, Google thinks that's important. So I would add, I would consider adding an article about acupuncture and reducing pain. Okay. And I would be checking that out. So this is where you can get some other ideas on here. This would be the Google suggestion tool. The others on here is going to be taking a look at the Google Keyword Planner, then taking some of your other chiropractors on here. I'm not sure why I have this clicked on. I don't remember looking at it. And then coming on here and taking a look at what their site would rank for in taking in their keyword, and then also taking a look at their source page and seeing what keywords they actually have. Doesn't quite look like a WordPress blog, but I don't know. Yes, it is. So they're using Yoast WordPress plugin. So there's definitely a professional using that site. And then I would just type in the keywords. Whoa. Professional using a SEO all-in-one plugin by Yoast. It's a custom one, but not entering in their keywords. Bad, bad, bad. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyways. So you'd have to find a site that's using WordPress. Well, a lot of them do on here. This one probably is. Again, just a source page. Yeah, maybe. Okay. And your source page. All-in-one SEO pack. That's. Here we go. Okay, so it's right there. So these are some of the, if you're doing niche on there, these might be some that you want to take a look at. Chiropractic treatment, physical therapy, massage therapy, right? That's a keyword that naturally be in there. I don't know if you'd want to rank for digital x-ray. That's, nah. Gastrin technique, so that might be a popular, I'm not in that niche, that might be a popular keyword term on here that would naturally go with any kind of chiropractic. Auto accident, sure. On the job injury on here. Back pain, neck pain, psoriatic pains, shooting pain down the back of the legs, stuff like this. These all be keywords that you'd want to add to your list. So let's say that we've got our list going on here, and in my example here. Else, I would be adding those keywords from what I found from other sites and from the Google suggestion bar. I would be adding those to this list here. Okay, so I would have that list grown out, and then in addition to that, you're going to have other stuff that's just going to be like the company name. Whoops. Company name, just the URL. Okay, that's just the the homepage URL. You're gonna have stuff like click here. Check it out here. Okay, and then to learn more, click here, and so those would be some other ones that you'd want to mix in. And this is our main keyword. And these are the other ones that we'd use for our backlinks, for our anchor text, for our site. So let me go back to the slides. And I think I've got one more slide on this. Okay, so we just went through keywords on here. Okay. Okay, so let's go over how you'd actually add these things to your site. So the page and post URLs do not keyword stuff. That's the main point here. Use the main keyword once on the entire site in your title and the URL. Do not get crazy with that. Let me show you some examples of what would be too much and what isn't. The remainder of your titles, your title of your article, and the URL. You want to use the rest of your keywords, or any keywords that would naturally relate to the site. It would be like a topic or a theme that would relate to your site. So what would that look like on here? That would look like something like actually, let me just put another slide in here. And okay, there we go. Okay, so we don't. Okay, so a common URL. So your home page, it would look something like this. That's your home page, right? Now you're going to start adding your posts on here. So your posts are going to look. Oopsie. Your posts for your articles are going to look like this. Let me just get a couple of these for getting examples. Okay, so this would start to get your post. So you post right here on here, and go back and where's the keyword list that I have? So this might be the title and it's gonna let me paste and match style. Okay, so that's one of the other keywords. Okay, and on here, and then we can have this one on here. If I would actually remove the Phoenix part of this, because let's say that my domain said, that I was able to get, like dental Phoenix on here. I would just have like dental implants. Okay. I wouldn't have dental implants. I've seen this before when we've reviewed people's sites. They'll have dental implants dash, and then they'll also put the keyword in their main keyword again. Dentist, Phoenix. Okay, that's not, you want to get rid of that. That's way too spammy. Okay, so I'd come up here, go back to my keyword list on here, This is a good one. So I might have affordable dental care, and this, this would be the topic, obviously, on here. Paste match style, boom. It's good, right? It looks very natural. It's not spammy, informative, and obviously the articles will be about it. Let's see. So sedation, that's a good one. And I would remove the city name. I just don't want to get too spam. I don't even want to suggest I'm spamming on here. Google's already going to know that the site belongs in Phoenix. I don't need to keep pounding it in their head over and over again all over the site, right? You follow all the geo-targeting techniques, the zip codes, the surrounding city names that you're using. When you register your domain, you've got a Phoenix address on it. You've got a Phoenix area code on it. It's obvious, right? So just go over the geo-targeting on here. Okay, and I would just go on like this. Okay. Maybe on here I would have something really practical on here. Let's see here. Maybe it'd be, say, like something like that. Somebody knocks out a tooth, what do you do? And just some cool little remedy things. What to do if you're like, you're at a ball game and your kid's tooth gets knocked out and it's not a baby tooth and you want to try to preserve it. What do you do by the time you get from where you are to the hospital, right? What are things you can do to save stuff like that? This is useful stuff. I'm not like in here stuffing on here, dental emergency in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, sedation dentistry in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not trying to keyword stuff these things at all. Okay, and then obviously if your URL is this, then your title should probably be just about the same thing. It doesn't have to be. It can be something completely different. Okay, but something that would relate it, so maybe the title of it would be, what to do if your child's, adult tooth gets knocked out, and something like that. And maybe this article is about, 5 things you should know about dental implants before getting them, something like that. You can find all these free articles, and as I show in the course, online, and you can spin them and make them original content on here. Okay, so pretty easy stuff, right? Then as far as within these articles on here, you would have, it is a dental implants. You might have one little link in there about dental implants linking back to the top of your silo. Okay, affordable dental care. This would be maybe one of your anchor texts in there, and you have that going back. Sedation dentistry on here, another anchor text going back. This is all going to let Google know, hey, it's a general dentist in Phoenix, and if someone's looking for something to do with typing in one of the many variations of things that people can type in, your site has a lot of content. It's not over optimized. Looks good, so we're going to showcase you. And you saw the example that I showed up there. That was somebody who was for Dentist Phoenix. They were down on number 7. They had no content. They practiced none of these things on here, but they're still on page 1, which is probably a pretty lucrative term to be in, by the way. But anyways, okay, is that it? I think that's all we've got. Okay, so let me turn over to chat box and open that up and answer some questions here. Then we'll move on here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Why Hong Kong and not New Zealand? New Zealand would be another option, but the Pacific. Yeah, I'll just go through some of the questions on here, starting from the beginning. It's the reason Hong Kong is because they are they are the international banking hub of the world. It's not like a Cayman Islands or a Belize or even a Panama. And Panama banks have closed a couple of times. They just recently did, and they only do U.S. dollars. And the U.S. dollar has steadily been declining in value, and it's going to go down. We can't sustain what we're doing. It's just impossible. And there's no way we can pay off the debt. That's the other thing. It's a very, very scary thing. Anyways, and not New Zealand. New Zealand, as far as I know, doesn't have the same kind of tax benefits. So like in Hong Kong is such a business entrepreneur hub. It is unbelievable. I've been there a couple of times. It is like, there's so... Everyone there is all about business. It's business friendly. You can literally open up a business and an account within 48 hours. It's just like there's no red tape. It's easy. It's done. And you're all set up. And there's all kinds of everything's catered to it. They just want you to come there. The government, the people there, everyone is all about business, international, and everyone's thinking big. But when you operate a Hong Kong business and your income comes from, it comes from the U.S. or, it comes from the U.S., it comes from anywhere outside Hong Kong, the tax rate is 0%. Can't beat that, okay? Compare that to the U.S., we're looking around 35%, which is absolutely outrageous. This is why all the major companies are leaving. It's just not supporting the thing that built the country up. And we're closing the borders for foreigners and making it harder and harder for foreigners to come in. And immigrants came to the United States and made it what it is. We need to open up those borders and let really smart, intelligent people come in. And they're just... it's just insane. But anyways, so that's why not New Zealand. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so let me get into these other questions on here. Yes, even though I'm moving, I've moved, all of my assets, all of my property. All my family now has a second passport. Mine will only take about another 12 months to go. And we're literally moving. We've moved everything offshores. we can still provide and operate businesses anywhere in the world, including the U.S. So yeah, absolutely. The world is now the smallest it's ever been. Okay, and you don't have to be in the U.S. to do this, and there's actually huge benefits for it. My first year in the business, and some of you've seen that presentation that I've done, and I showed my tax returns, which was 1.6 million, and that was my personal take home, not business. I was taxed over $400,000, and I almost puked. I worked my ass off on here, and I don't mind paying my fair share and stuff, but goodness sakes, tax me $100,000 or something like that. When 50% of the population is dependent on food stamps in the U.S., which is absolutely frightening, and less than 40% don't pay taxes, I'm footing the entire bill. Why? Because the government wants to be a nanny state. I'm just not into it. So I did what I can do. I got up and left. Okay. And since I've left on that end of it, I've saved over legally. Okay. This is not tax avoidance. Okay. I want to be very clear about that. I've legally saved over $1 million in taxes. If somebody had a virtual business, which all of you do, and you made $100,000 in a year, in the U.S., you're going to pay, depending on your taxing and accounting on that end of it, you're going to pay somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. If you just live outside of the United States and still operate your business the same way and live in, anywhere you want to, okay, outside the U.S., okay, you're going to pay zero taxes, or maybe 1 or 2%. Okay, and this is legal. Okay, 100% legal. Your IRA, okay, or your IRS. I'm doing exactly what Dick Cheney does. Okay, Dick Cheney has a IRA account. It's now worth $21 million, by the way. Guess what? All the money went in there tax-free, and he'll pull it all out tax-free, 100% risk-free. Why? Because he moved it offshore. It's 100% legal to do. You want to keep that in the U.S. and go, okay, I'll select the, and especially if you're a business owner. If you're a business owner, you can stuff a lot more money in there, and there's not going to be, anyways, I don't want to. I go on about this kind of stuff. Let me get back in here. Yeah, it's only when you run your business in Hong Kong. Okay. Can I recommend a company for helping with the Hong Kong setup? Yes. Hong Kong Commons is what it's called. I'll just type in the chat box. Just type in Hong Kong Commons. There, it's cost you $450 to get everything set up. No, Joe, there's no bear shares or any invisible LLCs, nothing like that. Everything is above board. I have to, anytime a U.S. citizen opens up any kind of foreign bank account, you have to report that to the U.S. Okay, just open up a damn bank account. You have to, but that's the law. If you don't, there's stiff penalties. Anytime you own a corporation outside, you have to file your taxes in the U.S. Even if the accounting works out that you don't have to pay any taxes, you still have to file for it. So it's all above board and it's all legit. It's you have to U.S. will chase you down to the ends of the earth wherever you are, even if you don't live in the U.S. Even if you never use their road systems, never use any of their public transportation system, you still have to pay your taxes, or you have to go through the legal laws that are out there to pay next to nothing and sometimes zero. Okay, so let's get back in here. Okay, so how does back into the SEO? So how does this apply to the pages for other surrounding sites for each city site? For each, you would just, that's a good question, Gary. You would just keep, so for like the Chicago Mobile Mechanic for those, and then you have a separate page for the separate city. That that remains unchanged. That would be exactly the same. Yes, you can use the SEO Zen for this content. Absolutely. And I did a webinar on that and how I use SEO Zen, and it's posted in the it's like 3 or 4 webinars ago, and I specifically put the title in there. I think how to create mini blogs, and it also includes the 6 top quality links that I like to use that are non-spammy, and in there I also give an example of how I use SEO Zen. And yes, you can do that. So it's a great tool for that. If I had a URL that was windshield replacement baltimore.net, and then the URL how to select the best windshield replacement shop, that's an awesome, Ralph. That's a very good natural looking URL, and that's a long URL because that's the URL for your post, but that works just fine. What would be too spammy? I think I covered that, but too spammy is just like getting your keywords in there too much. So let's say that your main keyword is Dennis Phoenix, and you're lucky enough to get the domain Dennis Phoenix, in your root, and then you did a post and it was root canal dental Phoenix was the name of your URL. It's got dental Phoenix in there twice. It's too spammy. And then you open up that page, and then the title of it is dental Phoenix. We do dental implants or something like that. Then you got dental Phoenix in there again. It's like, whoa, it's too spammy. And then you've got an anchor text in there that's say dental Phoenix, and it's pointing back to the home page. Whoa, way too spammy again. Okay. Now you've got all of your backlinks that are coming to your site, off page, are all going to your home page, and they're almost all like dental Phoenix. Way too spammy. Okay, way too spammy. Yes, Richard. Richard makes a great suggestion on here. Yeah, you can use SpyFu. There's a free version of it, and you can use that for getting really great types. That's a great suggestion. Thank you for that. That you can get actually more broader type, longer keyword terms. Yeah, I know, Lee. Yeah, that's isn't that crazy? Yeah, the Yoast, which the guy's a great blogger, and he recommends on here to turn your keywords off on that end of it, but it can be enabled, and I would absolutely not turn it off. You want to leave it on. It's not over spammy on here, and I would just turn it on. It's a very subtle thing too. It's not you risk nothing and gain everything just by turning on that Yoast keyword tool and putting your keywords in there. Okay. Good. Okay, just reading through these questions in here. I think we're going to pretty much got through them. Oh, got a large there. Okay. Okay. Okay, you said use main keyword once on entire site. You're saying you can only make one post on the entire site with your main keyword. Don't even make a post with your keyword. You already have your keyword on your home page. Don't use your main keyword again on your post. Just leave it alone. Okay. Just go for other things. If it happens to naturally fit in there by accident, that's okay. But don't deliberately be putting it in the URL, the title, and try to make an article keyword rich around it. Just use all the other keywords that we came up with. Okay. And just be very careful of that. Okay. So you can't have multiple posts with each post using your main keyword. Just do it once. Jim, that's absolutely correct. You just back way off of it. Chris will know, Google will know what your site is about, okay? And they want to know that, hey, this is a themed out site. This site has to do with the topic of, dentist, and it's got good material on it that would add to the end user experience. Having a whole bunch of posts and anchor text going back that are all going after your main keyword or your top 3 keywords, Google's like, this is not natural. This has been architected and engineered by somebody who wants to rank well. And when you step back, it's just completely ridiculous, right? Because none of these sites are ranking naturally. Everyone's manipulating the search engines, and then Google's trying to pretend like, hey, we're trying to create an algorithm to make this look natural. Okay, whatever, but that's the game we play. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. Do you have to register the... Look, I'll start... there's huge questions about this. So I'll start posting. I'll share some of my pictures and banks and stuff like that I went to in Hong Kong, if you guys are so inclined to kind of learn about that stuff. And if you have a business, I would highly recommend it. Even if you decide you're going to stay in the U.S. and have your residency there in the U.S., there's still enormous tax benefits and also shelter benefits to having your corporation overseas. Okay, and it's complete. This is all legal, guys. It's 100% legal. None of this kind of stuff. Okay. Do you recommend diluting the anchor text? If so, how and what services, or just make up the changes you just covered and then get some high PR? Yeah, just make the changes. Go back in. If you found you went on your site and you used to be on page 1 and now you're just kind of. This is what I've seen over and over again. The page was on your site was on page 1, and now it's just kind of stuck on page 2 or 3 or 4. It's kind of like, what just happened? One day I wake up and here it is. It's not like you're at the end of the line, like beyond page 10. You're just, or even if you are on page 10, you do the same things. Go through your site, literally change your URLs, change your anchor text within your site. So if you find that every post that you have has got like your main keywords in it and it's stuffy, you just go in and remove that stuff. Okay. Change the title, change this, and then come in, add some good quality backlinks. About half of them to your homepage, even less. You can even go less and you'll be fine, because the way the site's built is the site is built so that all of the link juice is eventually going to funnel up towards anyways, and you hit more of the inner pages with some good high PRs and just randomly using anchor text and steering away from your main keyword. It just looks too spammy. How does that apply to the pages for other surrounding cities on here? You just keep them the same. It's a good question. So if you had, Mole Mechanic Charlotte / and then, or Mole Mechanic, your main one is Mole Mechanic Chicago on that end of it. Then on the other one, I would just put / city name. If it's Cicero or Aurora, whatever the surrounding areas are. But we put in there Mole Mechanic on the URL for the second page. So our main URL was Mole Mechanic Chicago, and then in our next page to then target the other surrounding city, say it was Cicero, we put Mole Mechanic Cicero, and we're fine. Today, what I would do, I would probably recommend, although I haven't tested it out, I would just put the name Cicero, and then on your so in the URL, it's not spammy. It's just like Cicero, and then in there say, welcome to our Cicero branch, blah blah blah, and then you can have it in there. Okay. What other countries can Americans get another passport in and keep their U.S. passport? U.S. allows dual citizenship, and so do a lot of other countries. On here, all of the European countries, I mean, there's a ton of them. You'd have to do some research online. There's a lot of topics when you start typing that in. There's tons of resources out there. It was easier for me and shorter for me, only because my wife is Korean, and so we moved to Korea, and I just have to. And over the next 5 years, I just have to spend a total of 24 months here. And I already have a permanent resident card here and everything like that. So, and then I get a passport, but the kids get it instantly. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. Edward just said in here, it's most assuredly is not a tax avoid. It's completely legal. You're not a tax evader. It's a huge difference. You're just avoiding paying excessive taxes just by moving elsewhere. It's what I mean when you see, all of the, when you see the majority of billionaires that do not reside in the U.S. And this last quarter, we had a record number, the highest number in the history of the U.S. People giving up their U.S. citizenship. I'm not going to do that, but giving up their U.S. citizenship, and there's at this point there's 30. So we have approximately 300 million people in the U.S. and right now there's a record number of people that now reside outside the U.S. In other words, they spend less than 30 days per calendar year in the U.S. at 30 million. So it's like 10% of the population, and it's growing. Okay. It's growing. Alrighty. Chris, is the Rockstar program you recommended today good for affiliate sites or best for local? It's good for both, Chris. I'm glad you asked. I wanted to bring this up. I want this to be, informative on here. But this is, if you guys haven't checked this out, you need to. It is. They are. Some people have emailed me and asked me, "Are they teaching the same thing that I am?" No, I've gone through the course and going back through it. Some of the stuff they got is awesome. Let me just show you some of the stuff that they're doing here, because this is definitely worth checking out. These are not techniques I'm showing. These are white hat techniques. They will show you on here, and they show you in the course. You look over the shoulder. They ranked within 48 hours. They ranked for 9 keywords, okay, and for multiple properties, all in position 1, sometimes position 1, 2, and 3. And I just want to show you this. So, and these are real. I just did these a few hours ago. So this is Pool Builder Irvine. So a pool, right? This is somebody looking for a new pool. Pool's around 30 to 50K. So it's a huge ticket item for a pool builder. These are their sites. 1, 2, 3. They're above their fold. Are these money sites? Yes. Look at all the keyword AdWords here. Okay. Then custom pool builder, again, top 3. This is in 48 hours, and they recorded how they did this over the shoulder from day one. They didn't record how they did it after the fact. It was like, okay, here we are, and it took them about 90 minutes to do this. And there's just more keywords. Irvine pool builder, 1, 2, 3, again above the fold. Are these got ads on here? Okay, these are money keywords. People are paying for these. Again, 1, 2, 3 for custom pool, and it goes on and on and on and on. Okay, they're totally white hat techniques, and the techniques that they're using is not what everyone else is talking about. Okay, they're using stuff like they're using things that I've never even thought of before. But I'm going to start incorporating this, and you'll hear me more and more talk about this, beginning of next year. But they're using Google Hangouts. They're using Facebook. They're using some other things on here some other social media that I've not heard other people talk about. And this would work for anything. This would work for launch jacking. This would work for affiliate marketing. This would work for your own sites, all this kind of stuff on here. So if you haven't checked that out, I subscribe to everybody's email, so I see the emails go out a lot. But I'll put that in the chat box. Anybody's interested, I definitely check it out. It's It is a really cool course. They kind of focus on during the kind of presentation and in their script, they focus a little bit more on how to create these assets. That's what they've always been about, creating the assets. You could put your paper call numbers on here. I mean, absolutely. That's what I would do. And the other thing that they don't mention there that's in the course, which is really cool, is they've got a really cool method of taking how you contact these business owners. So let's say that you found these pool builders on here. Okay. So you can just pick them up and call them, right? That's the straightforward way, easy enough to do that. But another technique that they use is they'll actually find these pool, and everyone has a Facebook account, right? So you come in here and you find out what the what the owner's name is, or even the company name, but preferably one of the owner's names. And usually in the contact us, they're going to have the owner's name on that. And then you just do a search on Facebook and you find their Facebook account. Then you take their Facebook ID on that end of it, and then you can target specific ads only to them. Okay. So when they log into their Facebook account, there's ads on there, and because it's so specific and targeted, it's extremely expensive, pennies to do on here. And then you're advertising directly to them for this service. They do some other cool stuff in there that they don't mention on the sales page. Definitely worth getting, and it is by far. I've always supported them. I really like the guys. We were at the Marketers Millionaire Mansion the first year that it came out. We got to spend a whole week together, just like a bunch of dorm room buddies in a mansion. It was a lot of fun, but really became close with those guys. They're really cool guys, and I always support what they come out. I always check it out first, and go through it to make sure that it's something of value. But it's good. They've never let us down. All their stuff they've done has been super cool. But anyways, okay, back to the SEO. Question here: where do you get your links, your blog network, or your Fiverr from on here? Okay. Cool. Okay. Sorry. Where do you get your links, your blog network, Fiverr, etc.? Thanks, Scott. Scott, I go into detail on that in the how to create a mini blog network, and I include my top 6 backlinks and where I get them. That's in the replay section for the webinars. Check that out in there. And then after you watch that, if you have further questions, come back. But I cover it in detail there. Okay, so in the training on that, which I need to update, by the way, you recommended backlinking to the homepage and all the silo pages. Yes. So I was never far off. I'm just saying shift it over more. How many internal links to the homepage should you have? I've been doing 2 to 3, and I assume you would continue to vary the anchor text. Yeah, you vary the anchor text on there. I would just use the anchor text seriously from a good quality site one time, and I just use variants after that. If you're using the variants anchor text after that, it's not spammy. Making sure that you use a company name, whatever, if you want to put the pros or experts at the end, whatever you want to use, and the URLs and the click here or check them out or learn more, go here, stuff like that. That's non-spammy, and getting in some other variations of your keywords, and just I would really start with the variations first. Just be, when you're looking at your sites and you're building your sites now, just kind of be like hypersensitive to, we're still doing all the same stuff, but now we're just being very hypersensitive to looking spammy. And how do we look spammy? We start just shoving our main keyword down Google's throat, down everything, through our anchor text, on the page, off the page, our titles, and we're just spamming the hell out of it. Don't do that anymore. Even if it's coming from quality sites and you've got quality content on here, Google today looks at that stuff and they don't like it. Okay, so they've obviously, they've clearly, without a doubt, put something in their algorithm that is really sensitive to that. And the good news is that we're not changing anything else. It's good, it's clear, it's concise, it's good content. It's just our choice of wording is more themed. We're just theming it out. We're letting Google know that, we're all about dentists. We're all about mobile mechanics, but we're coming at it from a themed angle, not a in-your-face keyword stuffing type thing. Okay. When in doubt, just lessen your keywords. That would be the thing. If you feel like you're stuffing or even keyword stuffing, don't. Yep. The Sovereign Man, I subscribe to all that stuff, by the way. So yeah, Don, exactly. So the Sovereign Man, that's a pretty popular website out there. They get into more of more like investing. They're geared more towards the crowd out there that has some money and they want to preserve it and invest overseas. I'm more just I think my best investment is in myself, so that's what I continue to do, and I'm going to give a greater return than any stocks would. Okay, so on here, SEO Zen is causing the sitemap in my footer to disappear. How important is it to have a sitemap there? You don't need a sitemap in your footer. I've never, if you follow through the training, we just never had that. You want to have your, what's important in the footer on there, particularly in the deep footer, the very bottom, is to have your disclaimer sites pages down there. And I know that's important because that's something that Google will rank right away. And many of our sites will have extra links at the bottom in the search engines showing just our disclaimers. And Google, and they clearly state that that's important. So, as long as it's not removing that, and you don't have to have your site map on your home page. You can just, you can not show it there, but you have it on the back end. That's all that matters. So the question here, Joe's asking, are you mainly going back and changing each of your website backlinks? No, we're not changing the actual backlinks. We don't have the system to do that. But and we don't have to do it for every site because luckily we were never spammy with this kind of stuff to begin with. Okay. As I mentioned earlier in the call. So this was not an issue for us. We had to do some major overhaul. We just had a few sites that were like that and we changed it and we were fine. So anyways, so it wasn't a huge deal for us. What are the upsells for the Rockstar program and how much are they? The only upsell that I'm aware of, okay, is and it's already shown on their page when you go there. It's just, do you want the course on how they did all this? That's option number one, and they show it right on the home page. So you don't find about it later. And then option number two, which is the one I would take, because I think it's just like $10 more. That's where they add the look over your shoulder and they actually go through. Okay, so day one today, what we're doing is we're buying this domain, and they walk you through how they did it, which I think is really cool. So, but as far as the OTOs go beyond that, I don't think there is, but there might be. But I have gone through their course, every single module, and there's a lot of them in there. I've gone through every single module, everything in there, and as far as I can tell, it's complete. It's not like you would need anything else, but check it out anyways. You would stay away from using versions like Dennis Miami, Florida for posts, URLs, and anchor text. Yes, it gets to start adding stuff like Dennis Miami, FL or Dennis Miami, Florida already. It's, I would just use that once. It just gets too spammy on that. Google. It's a great question, George. Google will know that your site belongs in Miami. Okay, Google will know that just from what we put on the homepage. We don't need to get crazy and start reminding them of a whole bunch of different ways that we are in Miami. They'll know it. Okay. So good question. True freedom is the ability to live freely anywhere in the world, regardless. I agree. The other passport is Korea. One day countries may not exist. I think they'll always exist. Okay, who is they? Who is they? Bill, I'm not quite sure. Oh, people are asking, is there an OTO? Is there an OTO? I don't know, but I do know that on the homepage there, when you go to that for the rock stars, that I would get the one where you look over your shoulder. They both have the same training content. It's just one it's kind of cool because it has a separate section of the actual, you get to kind of look over the shoulder as they're actually building it, not they built it and they go back and they tell you how they did it. No, it's how they actually did it. And within 24 hours, they were already ranking stuff. I mean, literally in 24 hours. It was after 48 hours that they really kind of solidified. Anyways, as far as the OTA goes, the rock stars are really good about that. They're not going to hit you up with like crazy stuff on that. So I wouldn't worry about it. I obviously haven't seen the upsells, so I can't comment on them. All the webinars I do for you guys is in the member section under the replay. And if you can't find it or you have a hard time, you're not quite sure where it is or a topic, just contact my support. Brian uploads all those, so he knows where all of them are. Okay, so how many times should we limit our main keywords on the homepage? Like I've always said in the beginning, since day one, I continue to do it day two. I just put them in once. That's all I do. If it happens to throw in there naturally some other way, that's fine. But I'm just gonna put it in once. I still do the H1 tag with it. All that's the same. Okay, I'm just not shoving that keyword at Google anymore, in other places other than maybe one other high quality backlink, and then that's it. I'm going for other stuff because Google already knows by this point with your content, you're themed out with the keywords you got on your homepage, and Google knows what your site's about. Okay, don't keep the thing in today is not to keep pressing at the keywords on here. Should we take all the keywords out of our image alt text? Outstanding question, Doug. No, I would keep them on your homepage. Okay. And I would just not go crazy everywhere else. Okay. I would still keep that with the alt tags. We haven't messed around with that at all. We're keeping all the homepage exactly the same. Okay. Same as before. I'm just making sure that your backlinks coming from both your internal pages and your external and your URLs and your titles for your other pages, just make sure you're not just shoving the main keywords down Google's throat on those. Just use other keywords. But it doesn't affect exact match domains. There's zero effect. People are even some people out there who are so-called experts are putting them down. The exact match domains don't have anything to do with this. The only algorithm change for that was that Google had a flaw in their algorithm, and they have a lot of flaws, but this was one that benefited, I guess, marketers like us, but didn't benefit the end user. And that is, there was a time not too long ago where you can have exact match domain, particularly if it was a .com, and you could just have the default hello world theme on there, and sometimes throw no backlinks in it, and then sometimes throw a backlink in it. It would literally be on page one. But someone goes and clicks on it because they go, oh, okay, because they type in the keyword, they see it in the URL, and they click on it, and it's like, hello world. This is my first post. That stuff used to happen all the time. And so So Google changed that, and they're not penalizing the exact match domain. Okay, they're penalizing people who have exact match domains, but their content is thin and crappy. Okay, when you have exact match domain, plus you have good on-page SEO, Google's going to reward you for that. Okay. Yes, on here, Jim asks here, Chris, I'm assuming that the methodology must be different for the rock stars. No, they're not. They're just check out. Look, if you're at all interested, you've always, you always got the 30-day refund. Check it out, and you'll see. There's a lot of exciting stuff that those guys are doing in there. So I'm definitely excited about it and going to be testing out some of the things that they're doing because the proof is there. It's undeniable. Okay, we'll get into the webby questions. You got it. There's a couple more on here. Let me just get a couple more of these. Okay, so Doug asks in here, I am just putting up a site for We Buy Houses. There is just not a lot to say about what we do. Sure there is about buying houses. You can talk about all kinds of things about investment properties, right? Because we buy houses, right? So if you're buying a house from somebody, there probably might be, I don't know 100%, but just off the top of my head, people who buy houses are buying houses from people who are probably maybe distressed. Maybe they're 2 or 3 mortgage payments behind rolling. And you could be writing posts and articles about all the things that would be interested to do with buying homes, both from a seller's perspective and a buyer's perspective. Because usually people who put up those kind of sites or that are in that business for We Buy Homes are usually kind of act as the middle person for bridging two parties together. The first party is usually a distressed home owner, and the other one is some kind of investor / real estate agent. And usually bringing those two parties together so they can make a beneficial and lucrative transaction for both parties. And so you have a lot to talk about there. Talk about and post articles for things for people who are in that situation of wanting to sell their home. And there's all kinds of content and articles you can come up with, and it's already out there for how to best sell your home. What if you're behind your mortgage? Can you still sell your home? All this kind of stuff. And then, our short sales, right? Okay, so you get the point, but you have tons of content to talk about. Do you recommend using your main keyword on your images? Yes, I would still do that. You'd be fine. Bruce asks, will the spin rewriter produce good content? Yes, and it's one of the best ones out there for doing that. Readable content. When you do that, just make sure if you're using real technical, a lot of technical words and terms in there, it's not going to write the technical terms very good. But if you've got more simplistic writing, which is most of the writing out there, it's going to spin it really well. You'll notice that when you start to play around with it. Okay, on to that. I've spent way too much time on this, so let's move on to the questions here. We've got a lot of them. Okay, so on to the questions. Here we go. I am in a medium niche, so medium competition niche, and I've now have experience with all the off-page ranking techniques. What I need to know is timing in days or weeks for these on here. Where do you get started with any of these? Okay, so when you take a look at some of the stuff on here, and there is no steady rule on here other than we're not going for maximum and just thrusting a ton of backlinks at these things on here. My personal preference on here, and this all depends on your situation. I would be using one of these top 3 on here to begin with. Now, not everyone out there is going to have a private blog network. That's okay, because these 2 services act as private blog networks. Okay, so I would come up here, and with like link authority, a lot of their, I think their minimum these days, I haven't checked recently, but I think their minimum is PR2. So you're going to get a combination of PR2s, some PR3s, a little less of PR3s, and a little bit less of PR4s. But I would be going for, like one of those in a week. Unique article wizard, 1 a week on that end of it. And I would just sit and wait and see what happens. And I would be doing home pages and inner pages with that. And then if you, at that point, you can come in and mix again, maybe, literally like 1 to 2 per week on here with this. And I would do on this, maybe 1 to 2 in a month, and then stop and just step back and see where you are. It just doesn't look real natural if you've got, 40 EDU sites going to one local business. Okay. But a couple of them are fine. Okay. I wouldn't do all of these link authorities from here per week. I would do a maximum of 1 to 2. But these are just the 3 ones on here, so I would do one or 2 of these blog networks. If you've got a really you got your own private blog network, which is really the best. That's like the ultimate to have, especially when you have your own private blog network and it's themed out. So you've got all your PRs are all about automotive, and all of your sites are pointing back to automotive sites. That's the king's bee. That's the best of the best. But otherwise, I would do that. And you're adding content. These are brand new sites. You do not want to get crazy on these at all. Okay, I have found a professional service niche with a good monthly search volume between 300 and 600 monthly searches, depending on the city, and with the exact match domains available. The cost per click is between 60 and 78. There's people sometimes write in and they say there are no more niches left. No, there are tons of niches left. And here's another example. Okay, so there is no shortage at all of good of these. And congratulations. I mean, that's an awesome combination of 600 monthly searches and 60, 70, $80 for cost per click. That's an awesome niche to be in. Whatever that is. Okay. Would you use the standard pricing quota method in the training, or do you make it changes for niches with cost per click value and the range? If so, what adjustments would you make? Any additional advice in this pursuing? Okay, great. So this comes back to a pricing question. Okay. And you have to, couple of things here. And I'm learning right now, one of the things that we're going to start doing, this is one of our goals here for the new year, but we're getting started now with it, by the way, is we're going, I dabbled in with it before, got my butt kicked in it, and now we're reinvesting and learning, and I'll share the results with you guys later on, early next year. But we're looking at, we're doing pay-per-click, paid advertising, but we're selling the leads. Okay. And what I'm noticing when we're looking at other people's ads out there is that let me just, I'll show you this, not to get into that, but you'll see why you can charge so much more. So let me just type in here. We'll do DUI attorney. Okay, so I'm not going to click on this because I don't want to charge this guy like $80 for this. So I don't want to be cool with that. But I just want to show you something on here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this so that he doesn't get charged for the click. And I just want to show, so you clicked on this, where would you go? You're paying premium here, probably around $110 for that per click. Okay, so let's just take a look at, for $110, you better be taking somebody to a very persuasive, basically squeeze page, a landing page. Is that unbelievable or what? This is what I'm talking about. Unreal. Let me do this other one here. Okay, so I click on the other one because this one gave me 404. And this is the site that I get clicked to. So this is basically just their home page. Okay, there is no strong call to action on here. You want to treat this like a sales page. Okay, and so basically this guy here is paying, or guy or gal, firm, is paying about somewhere, my guess is between, and I'm probably right on, is between probably 80 and 110 bucks, something like that, per click to take them to this page. Okay, all right. I would definitely have a video on here that would just autoplay right away, grabbing the person's attention, and giving them, pointing out their pain and giving them the solution and telling them what to do. Okay, so addressing any kind of fears they have, whatever it is. Okay, we deal with people all the time that are DUI cases, and the reason I became a DUI attorney, blah blah blah, is because people who get DUIs are not criminals. They're professional people just like you. We understand how embarrassing this can be for you and your family. You want to get wiped off your record as soon as possible. We're the right people to call you. We understand your situation, and blah blah blah. Just you're addressing the problem. You're addressing the solution. On here, there's none of that. I would have customer testimonial after customer testimonial below here, and I would have big, huge call to action. Call now for a free one-on-one consultation right now with my attorney, with me, no charge. Let's get this taken care of for you right now. Boom. I would have that on here, and that's going to convert higher. You can track all this stuff. Okay. So point is this is where people are right now. And actually this is pretty okay. I mean, we saw a 404 one, and there's others are worse. This is not high converting page. You're paying to bring traffic to your site. You want to convert. Now, come back to what you're doing right now. You've got somebody who's paying in here. You've got a whole group of people that are paying $60 to $70. I guarantee you they're getting 1% or less. And so they're probably getting at least 10 clicks before they get one phone call, and they're not going to close every one of those. I mean, they're spending a lot on this. And you come in and you cut through all of that crap, okay, and you're handing them over a live lead. I mean, you better be charging them double that, okay? At least double that. It's a total steal of a deal, okay? Okay. At your suggestion, I have purchased 5 expired domains. And this is for the blog mini network on here. The criteria you provided. The questions are, number 1, using original articles, we place one link to a money site, the homepage or interpage, correct. With appropriate contextual keywords, correct. Can the same expired domain be used to post 2 additional article links to the same money site, or should it only be used one? Good question. So let me summarize the question. So you have one expired domain that you've purchased. Maybe an 8-year-old one. I kind of look more towards age than I do anything else, and maybe a PR12 that you could literally buy for $5 to $10 plus the $7.99 at GoDaddy auctions. Okay, so it's not expensive at all. And the question is, can I use that same site to link out 1 or 2 articles to one of my money sites? I would just do one. That's all that we do. Google, hey, this is one from a good, a trusted site. It's 8 years old. It's got a PR2. It's all with ideally would be all themed out, all the articles would be around one central topic, you're going to get plenty of love from that. You don't need to be pointing at another backlink to the same site. So good question. Question number 2 for this, or part 2, you mentioned setting up these expired domains and setting or allowing 50 to 100 posts on the homepage. Are all of these posts to have links to our various money sites? And what's the strategy? Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just that simple. You're just going into the back end, and you're setting up your site so that your homepage is not static. Your homepage is the most recent blog post. Okay, and you can set how many blog posts you can have on your homepage. You can have your blog post set up so it's just a condensed version, which I wouldn't do that. It's just abbreviated. It's just got the title and maybe the first 2 or 3 sentences. Don't do that. Do the full length, okay, and set it for 50 to 100. 100, I think, is the max you can do on a homepage. Somewhere between 50 and 100, and every single article in there has got, I just do one anchor text going back to either a homepage or a inner page. If you have a little bit longer article in there, somewhere above 500 words, you might want to put 2 anchor texts in there, maybe one to an inner, one to the homepage. Okay. It's really that simple. There's nothing fancy about it. Do you recommend that we put our money site links on these expired domains in the blog roll on each site that you purchase? You could do that. We don't, but you could. I don't see any harm in that. But a blog roll link versus a contextual link coming from the same site, the contextual link is going to have more juice to it, more power. So I would just focus on those. If we don't do this, but you could, okay. I've read about other people doing it. We don't do it, but another thing is that I think is a pretty decent idea, is that you allow blog comments, but you only do your own comments on there. You may have an article that maybe points out to one of your money sites, and then you have like 2 or 3 comments below that article. And each one of those comments, you allow it to be do follow, and it do follows to some of your other sites. So that's one thing you can do as well. I haven't done it. I've heard other people do it who I respect in the industry, and I don't see how it could harm the site at all. And so anyways, most sites in my niche fall into your original medium competition strategy. Okay. Can you suggest the order and frequency that we should implement as far as SocialMonkey, ARD, PR backlinks, and slow? And so how many is safe and how often? Okay, so I covered that earlier in this. So just to move on, because our call's already getting long. It's running up 2 hours already, pretty close. So I covered that earlier in the call. I know off-page seems to be more of an art than a science. Yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely not a science. I mean, what it is we're all trying to reverse engineer Google's algorithm and the changes, and then we're making adjustments to it. But if you could suggest a basic schedule of how we should implement these, we've covered that earlier in the call today, so I'm not going to go over it again. If you have time, can you explain the details of how we would actually create and do a PR WordPress release, in what business owner's name, etc.? Okay, good. So there's actually a question later on in here about someone who actually did a PR and they wanted me to actually examine it. So I'll answer that question later on in the call. Hi, PR edu websites and backlinks. When we create a profile, so this is for people who got that, there's like, I don't know, I think 20 or 24. Yeah, it was, I think, 24 with the bonus for like $9. So it was actually less than that. You got these edu sites, and you can create profiles on it. So that's what this question is regarding. So when we create a profile on an individual sites like the Harvard, Cal, Polytech, etc., do we need to only do that once with our own personal email address, or should we be creative and separate the profiles for each websites we want to be sending the PR link to? Okay, so I actually answered this in detail in the last webinar. Okay, just the last one. The replay has been up for a while. It's a good one. There's a lot of other questions on there too, but I addressed that specifically on the call. And basically, you can use the same Gmail account, but I'll just briefly go over it, but go back there for more detail. You can use the same Gmail account. So basically, this is it. One profile account on one of these educational sites is equal to one link. So just think of that. So every time you want a link, you're going to have to create another profile. And you don't want a ton of these. I go into that. You just, maybe a maximum 4 in a month. And then I would just that's enough, because that's just too many for one site to be having 10 or 20 edu sites. So the good news is that you don't need a whole lot of these, just a few, 1 to 4. And you don't need a whole bunch of Gmail accounts. You can use one Gmail account. But what you do with the Gmail account is that if your Gmail account is Chris Winters at Gmail, that would be your first one. And then the next one you use with the same Gmail account, but you put Chris or C period HRIS and then the rest of the Gmail account. And then the next one that you use CH period RS, and it will by default go right back to your main Gmail account. Okay, but it looks different in the beginning because it has a period. Okay, if you run out of those, the other strategy that I talk about in there, and if you have HostGator or GoDaddy or whatever you use, all of them are going to give you at least one free Gmail account with your domain name. And use what's called a catch-all. If you don't know what a catch-all is, just contact your host provider. They'll show you. Basically what it means is that anytime someone types in anything on the front end of your domain email, like joe at chrisinc.com or sue at chrisinc.com or info at chrisinc.com, or you get the idea. It all goes to one account. It's called a catch-all. That way you've just got unlimited number of different emails. So you can just, you don't have to go out and get a whole bunch of different ones. So that's how we address those. Make sure you watch the last webinar in here. Is SEO10 software okay to build out multiple sites? Absolutely. Does it have the silo structure you mentioned in creating necessary pages? Yes, it does. Go back, watch the webinar on that. I did a whole webinar on how I use those for the silo structures. There's a few little adjustments that you got to do. The way that I do it and the way that SEO Zen does it in the training is just slightly different. Okay, so, but yes, a huge time saver tool on there. I think it's pretty awesome. So, and as a side note, for some of you who might be, it's a valid concern. I'm currently not worried about it myself, but you can, if you are, obviously the Google algorithms can clearly see the all the plugins that you have. Why they would be concerned about SEO Zen, when we're just literally all of us in the members, even if I think it's like 10,000 members, we're just a speck of sand on this gigantic beach. It's not like they would be concerned about it. But if they were, you could always come in with SEO Zen, set up all of your posts, predate them, all that kind of stuff, and then remove the plugin from your site, and you have all your pages and everything set up. So, but I don't do that, but I know people have asked that, and it could be a valid concern, but I highly doubt it. But you could do it. Okay. What do you think the SEO limitations as compared to having no site built manually? It just, the limitation is that it takes a lot longer to do on your own. SEO Zen will go out and find the articles and all that kind of stuff for you. They even have a cool thing where you can actually do blog comments to relative sites and have good high PRs. Those are one of the top 6 links, in my opinion, that are of good high quality. It's a blog comment. It's from a regular content site. It looks, it's totally relevant and cool. So yeah, I think the best question here I've answered it is just go back and watch the webinar where I show how I use it. Okay. Okay, when buying age domains, what will be the minimum links you would look for on a PR 1, 2, 3, and 4 site? That's a great question. When I'm like doing the PR, even a PR 0, PR 1, PR 2, and sometimes I'll find PR 3s. You will find them from time to time. All of those I'm getting from, we are getting those from the GoDaddy auctions and Buy Now. Okay, that's where we're getting those. And because their initial cost is $5, $10, maybe $12, plus you have to pay the next year's domain registration, which is usually around $7.99. I don't get too freaky about it. Okay, as long as it passes the criteria that I go over on how to create a mini blog network, I'm fine with it. If you want to analyze the backlinks on here, that's where it gets a little bit more advanced, and I didn't go over that there. But if I'm looking at investing in a PR4 and above, I want to know, and you have to use something like SEO Majestic and the paid version of it. So I want to know exactly where it's getting its PR4 from, and if it's, and then I'm going to go visit that site, and then I'm going to find the anchor text that actually links to the site I'm about to buy. And I'm going to ask myself, is it a likelihood that it's probably getting its PR4 because it's probably getting a PR4 or higher link from, it has to be one place, so at least one place. Is the likelihood that blog owner is going to remove that link? Because when it does, my page rank is going to drop. Okay, so you have to ask yourself that. And sometimes, for example, it could be a business directory listing. So you're on a page that has here's all, I don't know, hairdressers in this area of town or something. And that happened to be the backlink, and it's a PR5 site. And so that's why you got a PR4. And that's the only high PR site link that you've got going. Well, they may update their listing, maybe that's a paid listing that you had to pay to put your list in that directory. Chances are it's probably going to get removed or updated. Then my site PR is going to drop. I'm probably not going to buy that. But if it's an article or a post that adds content to it and then just kind of reference back to, that's going to stay because it's good content. Okay. So there's no hard and fast rules. You just have to kind of look at it and go, if I own this site, and I find out that when I link out to this other site that it's, maybe it's no longer about hairdressers because you decided to revamp it into, an automotive site, which is perfectly fine. Is the likelihood that it's going to stay there. Now, ideally, to be extra careful, you would have more than one high PR site linking to it. So if you lost one of those links, so you lost one of your PR4 links, but you still have another one going, you're going to be fine. Okay. All right. I bought a PR4, 13 years old. Good. PR4, 13 years old. That's really strong authority, both with age and page rank. So, but it only has 3 backlinks. Well, you already bought it now, so it's too late, right? I did all the recommended checks you recommended. It's not a fake PR. Would you recommend just getting some high PR contextual links to the blog roles and strengthen the link juice? You can, but you don't need much. What I would do is literally like once or twice a year is I would go and invest maybe $20 or $30 in like one good PR4 link going back. Maybe a small little cluster of them, like 4 or 5 from like some do follow blog comments, something like that. And that's it. Otherwise you don't have to worry about that PR site. I shouldn't say that because what if the things change, but in the past we haven't had anything. We haven't worried about any of that. And I literally have sites that are PR 2s, 3s, and 4s that we've just, and I've had them for almost 2 years. We've never added a backlink to them, and they have not lost anything. But Google has not updated their page ranking for a long time now. I think it's been like, 7 months or something. It's been a long time. So maybe things will be different when they decide to change that old logarithm coming up. Anyways, have you ever used a high PR contextual links from the creators of backlink indexers? So yes, absolutely. Backlink indexers, that's for backlinking your backlinks. That's what that's for. So if you've got like some Web 2.0 properties, maybe some social bookmarking links, those are the ones that you want to take all of those links that you just pointed to your site and you want to run them through Backlink Indexer so that it strengthens those so that they will get updated. And they've got some pretty good ones. I mean, they just keep growing and growing, that particular company, and they keep adding and adding to, and basically what they've got is they've got a whole network of sites out there that's going to be linking to your backlinks. So I recently built a new site, and in about 2 days, it was on page 1. Excuse me, for both. I need to get a drink of water here. All right, so basically, recently built a site, and it was on page 1 for both Yahoo and Bing. After 2 weeks, I decided to change it from a single style site to an advanced style site. And once I started adding the tops of the silos, which was one every other day, the site disappeared from both Yahoo and Bing. Would this be because the search engines dance, or am I adding content too fast? Just to recap, the site is only 3 weeks old, and I haven't been adding content every other day, both pages and on here in advanced style structure. So I have never, well, first of all, I've never heard of, I haven't heard, and I've never witnessed a site being penalized for adding good content. Okay. But if you're adding content and your keyword stuffing that content, okay, like I started the conversation with, then Google's not going to like that. Okay. Google's hypersensitive to that kind of stuff. So without seeing your site, my guess would be one or two things. A, it's just a Google dance. B, you started keyword stuffing it. So it's like every single page on your site is just ramming down Google's throat that this is all about 1 or 2 or 3 keywords that you just keep stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. The same ones over and over again. Okay. And they're in the URL, they're all over the pages, all that kind of stuff. Google doesn't want that anymore. They just, even though there's nothing wrong with it, you could still do that, and in my opinion, add good quality content to the end user. It's just that Google's decided in our anti-spam department, this is going to be one of the ways we're going to detect spam. Okay, so just be wary of that. But I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, if you got good silos, okay, you got a good, you have one silo because it's about computer repair in Phoenix, and you got another silo because it's about removing spyware from your computer, and you've got another silo because it's about PC repair, and you got another silo because it's about or PC/data recovery. These are all fine because that's like 3 distinct keywords that would all be natural, and you'd have a page and it all be naturally on a good end user experience if someone's looking for the topic of computer repair, right? Because you're just talking and drilling down deep about specific types of computer repair. But if on each one of those sites, and your main keyword was computer repair because that gets the main searches, and on each one of those tops of silos, you're stuffing down the throat computer repair in Phoenix, that's where Google today is extremely sensitive to. So you might want to go back and take a look at those, make sure you didn't do that. And if you didn't, good news, it's just a Google dance, so wouldn't worry about it. Just continue marching forward. After buying my first high PR blog network site and outsourcing original articles, to how many of the money sites can I link out? I do 100. So there's other people out there who have their own blog networks who are also very successful. They're saying around 30. I do 100. They're working fine. Maybe out there you want to stop at 50. So I just do 50 posts, and I send those all for the homepage, and I got maybe 1 link, maybe 2 links coming out of an article if it is a longer article, and then I'm pretty much done with the site at that point. Okay, and that's not bad. I mean, you're talking about 50 to 100. However aggressive you want to get, 50 to 100 quality links from a themed out site that maybe cost you a total of $25 or $20. That's an awesome deal. Okay. It's huge. Okay. How many? Okay, so how many of these many sites can you link out? So I answered that. How many is too many before Google feels I'm on an SEO mission? I just have not found that. Okay, as long as you're following all the other guidelines, hosting them on different IP addresses, you've registered them under different names, and you're not linking the blog networks, your blog network sites to themselves, just outward links, you're fine. Alrighty. Okay. Hope all is well. Thank you. I'm looking to hire a VA and was wondering if you could please advise me on what specific knowledge and or talents I should look for in a VA that may be able to help me grow my business, pay-per-call, lead generation, stuff like this. Okay, great. So I'm not in the business of offering VA services. I thought about it before. It's just not my core competency, and I've got plenty of other stuff going on. But I've covered this extensively before. So one of the things I would look at is I have one. This is a free site you can go to, and it's hireva.net. Let me look it up. And this is my site, hireva.net, sign up. Okay, so let me just go ahead and copy that URL, and then I'll put it in the, I'll put it on the slide here. Okay, so hireva.net/sign-up. So check out that. It's free course, no upsells, nothing like that. Just sign up, go in, and training's in there. And I would also, you can look on, I keep forgetting what the heck this site is. Oh, here it is. Online jobs. Oh, thank goodness, found it. Onlinejobs.ph. That's for Philippines on here. It's a great site. Check it out. So you come in here, and you might want to look, WordPress experts probably pretty good on here because I want someone. These are some of the skills I'll show you. Search. Okay. So a lot of results on here. A couple of things on here. You interview everybody over Skype in person. Okay. Interview everyone on Skype. Number 2, set regular working schedules, a start and an end hour. I have because the time difference between where I am right now and the Philippines, which is where my VAs are, is just a 1 hour time difference. But it's like a 12-hour forward difference from like people in the United States. So you'll notice like our hours of operation for our WordPress or for our support desk and stuff like that is usually in the U.S. Somewhere around, I think it's 4 p.m. Through like 2 in the morning, which I think works out pretty good because I think a lot of people who do this stuff kind of do it in the evening. But anyways, and it's a Monday. Your times it's Sunday through Thursday because we're 1 day ahead. In other words, I set up their time schedule so that they're basically working from 7 a.m. and they're working a full 8-hour shift. Okay. They have to log into Skype at the same time, and they let me know when they're going to lunch, and they let me know when they're done. They have task sheets that they do, all that kind of stuff. So it's accountable. Even though they're working from home, this doesn't mean that you work from home. It's like, oh, I got to run to the bank. No, that's not it. If I ever check up on you during the day, which I do because naturally I have questions and stuff like this, I'll say, hey, I just forgot this. If I don't get an immediate response back, or I don't get one back for like an hour, someone's in trouble because where the hell were you? You're supposed to be working. Okay. So you want to make that very clear on the time and end date. So you could still do it like an early, like 7 or 6 in the morning. And if you live in the States, that could work out to be 3 or 4 or 5 in the afternoon when they start your time. And it'd be very easy to kind of monitor and check up on them and communicate with them because you want to communicate with these people on a regular basis. They're your team members, right? Anyways, so aside from that, the point is you don't need anything kind of fancy tools to do this. So the kind of skills that I would be working on here is I would want somebody that really knows their way around WordPress and plugins and installing it, and they could add subdomains for me if I needed. They could do some basic graphic work, nothing fancy, and they have good written English skills. That's really important. They don't need to be a writer, but they need to have good English written skills. And almost everybody in the Philippines, they grow up in school, and it's dual languages, okay, in English, and the majority of them speak really good English. So that's usually not a problem on here. And anyone that can do any of the kind of grunt work, the repetitive work on here, because what are we doing? We're building the same freaking site over and over again on a niche. So that's repetitive work. So have someone else do that. So that's why I say good WordPress skills, good reading skills, good reading and writing skills in English. Okay, that's important because you want them to go over that. They need to know some good, like they can make some slight kind of custom adjustments to a WordPress blog would always be nice. Okay. But if you get in trouble with that, and you guys have used our support desk, our team's really helpful with that. So, and some basic backlinking, which is not complex. You can train anyone to do this. What you don't want to do is you don't want to come up with somebody and they're an SEO specialist. So it's like, oh, okay, they'll just make my page rank #1. No, that's not it. You show them and tell them exactly what they're going to be doing. Okay. So look, this is right here. Can we expand this? Where are we? Expand this person's on here. 400 US bucks a month, not a bad deal. A little over $100 a month, right? It's an absolute steal. Okay, 40 hours per week. English test, high advance on here. So far looking pretty decent to me. So far I like it. Google Docs, experts, that's good because you could use Google Docs or you could use Dropbox. They both basically work the same. Typing speed, working at a fast pace, good. General skills, English is good. Marketing, I want somebody here who's got a little bit. Google Analytics, no experience, and I kind of want somebody who can set up some Google Analytics. Okay. It'd be kind of nice, but it's easy to train. You could just have them watch the training videos in here. But if someone else had all their same skills, but they were familiar with setting up, Google Webmaster and Google Analytics, which is very easy to do, by the way. But if they already know how to do it, it's just kind of a step ahead. Some graphics, which is good. Adobe After Effects, no experience. I wouldn't do this one. I want someone to have some kind of graphics experience on here. It's just nice to say, hey, can you make me a really quick custom header for my, mobile mechanic site? You're not looking for something crazy, right? You give them some general ideas and they can run with the rest of it, and they've got, their own tools to do that. So that's what I would be looking for. Everything that someone can do in this course. They got to be like some slight graphics, good with WordPress. Maybe a slight customization of WordPresses would be really nice. And really good English skills to be able to do everything in that course. And that's somebody I would look for and set up their tasks and communicate with them. Don't just hand over your business and say, here, you run it. Bye-bye. That doesn't work with anybody. Okay. All right. So enough of that. Get back to the slideshow. Okay. All right. We will get through these questions here. I promise we would. So we're running over, but I want to get through these. So people took the time to write these in. I want to make sure we answer them. Number one, how many sites do you feel do you need to have an effective but small blog network? You can have 4. No, you can have 3. No, you can have 2. Okay, just don't think you have to have like a network is like huge. You could literally just go out and buy like 3, even PR0 and 1s. If you're going to get page rank of that is that low, then make sure that you got a lot of age, like they're 8 and 10, 13 years old. It's going to you're going to see and feel the difference. Okay, it's all you need, just a couple. It's a very small investment. How many pages do you need on each blog to make them authoritative? Not Not many. So I covered this earlier, but somewhere between 50 and 100. And those are going to be comments or articles, preferably themed out, pointing to your money sites. Do you use the Wayback Machine to recreate the previous sites? Nope, I don't even mess with that stuff. I do not recreate it. I'll buy a site that was previously on whatever, dog training, and I'll change it into an automotive site. Okay. But if I wasn't a dog niche and I found a site that was already a dog niche site, that's an added bonus, right? I just pick it up, but I wouldn't try to recreate the site. And I know that there's courses out there that teach that kind of stuff. I want to do things simple. I want to do things as simple, as fast as possible, and still be effective. And all of my sites are extremely effective. I mean, I have so many crazy topic sites, stuff that were like police stations. I don't know why they expired their domain, but man, it was like 14 years old at a PR3. It was like $10. You'll find those kind of things on there. Is it a police station site now? No, it's not. Okay. And it's fine. And we haven't sent one single backlink to it ever. It's still holding its page rank. So don't worry about that kind of stuff. Don't overcomplicate this. You're just putting up any kind of theme up there. Just change up your themes. Any kind of theme out there. Go in there and just start slapping articles in there. It's just that simple. You're done. Do you have to create a blog network for each niche that you're in? So the site is all about that niche, or can you have a high PR blog network that links to multiple niches? How much more powerful is a single and private blog network? Okay, so I did cover this in the blog network webinar, but let me just touch on this really quickly. It would be ideal to say, and you know, you're on this call because you're a Paper Call Ninja member, right? And in this, I'm suggesting that you come in and you start out with 2 to 3, maybe 4 in the same niche sites, get to know that niche. And then once you've got all the kind of kinks kind of figured out, then you're just going to explode that thing out into 25, 50 cities. You're just going to duplicate the process. So you're all in the same niche. So super easy to now go out and create a whole bunch of blogs that are all the same niche. Okay. Very simple to do, right? Because they're all the same thing. Let's say that you're in more than one niche. If you're like in 2 niches or 3 niches, then I would consider investing in, having some themed out ones. You don't have to have them themed out. You're still going to get lots of juice coming out. It's just, it's going to be a stronger link and more kind of, love juice going out if it's coming from a themed out site. Now, the other alternative you can do, and we do this, is that you can create a directory site, like a local directory site. And they have local directory themes out there. You don't have to get those, but you could. There's some out there for like $10 or $20. And now you've got a theme that looks like a directory site. And it's kind of set up that way. And it would be natural for that to have a whole bunch of different businesses in that, right? So that would be the alternative I would do. Do you need different server classes in order to not leave a footprint? Yes, and I go over that in great detail in the course. So exactly how you get you can get different IP addresses in there it comes out to about 25 cents a piece using the host 9, and that's all covered in the course. Okay, it's not easy finding high PR expired domains that are relevant. Don't worry about it. You don't have to. So when setting up our own private blog network, if I found an established PR6, whoa, that's going to be kind of that. I'll stop right there. If you're just starting out, don't think that you need these. I would first invest. My advice would be if you're starting to do a blog network, just maybe start with 2 or 3 sites and start with these little $10 and $12, PR 1s and 2s that have got some good age, 5 years or older from GoDaddy. Then, there's not the stress and strain going on. PR6, if it's a legitimate PR6, is going to be upwards of around, it's going to be a pretty decent little investment. It'll be worth it. I would suggest, making mistakes and scraping your knees on the lower cost ones before you go into those. But anyways, if I found a PR6 that was that was say all about technology or IT, and my niche was carpet cleaning, and then I just added 10 post articles to the homepage about carpet cleaning, that would be a complete mismatch in Google's eye. Nope, you can always change that over. Okay, we've done that with 90% of our blog network sites, and it doesn't matter what they are. We're just looking at page rank, age, boom, and we totally change the theme out. Different topic. But if you could find one, that would be the best situation, right? But we do it. It doesn't hurt it. Yep. We just wipe it clean, and we just totally relevant new content. That's what we do. We just wipe them clean, and we just put on new content. We don't go back to Wayback Machine. I know there's some so-called experts out there that suggest doing that and reconstructing it and painfully doing that. It's just like, don't just march through and do it. I've had these for a long time. I consider myself a pretty good expert at it, from just in the trenches working. And I just had the other day one of my team members go through all our blog networks and just go through, check all the page ranking, make sure all the sites are all updated, all the WordPress blogs, all that kind of stuff. And we didn't have any drop in page rank. And that's just as of 24 hours ago. Okay. I was hoping you can critique my PR web. So this is a press release, and tell me how I can do it better next time. So I already posted this up because I thought it was a pretty good question. And thanks for sharing this with us, by the way. So we all get to learn through your example. It's right here. So this is PR Web. You don't have to do these on here. I actually did not include that on my top 6, but it is definitely a high quality on here. And the nice thing about it is they basically got 3 packages. The first one's like a $99. The second one's a $200, and the other one's quite a bit more. I can't remember, but I get the middle of the road one, the $199, because that one allows you to have links on all of the press releases, and they usually go out to about over 1,000. And you can actually log in to your account, and you can actually get a list of those too. Where the URLs are for the for all the places that it posted it. I already took a look at this, and you can see all of these on here are all links going back to the site. So this one he has going back to his main page. I'm just looking down here in the lower left-hand corner. This one to the main page. This one's to an inner page, which is awesome. And I bet this one is too. That's an inner page too, so that's awesome. And then you've got your URL here. So it's just, this is what they allow you to do. This is a good quality site on here. When you get these things on here, these things, I would take, it's so easy to get this on, you can get this on page 1. And this is back in May of this year, but I checked where it was, and it's actually on page 3 for the keyword. I typed in AC repair Miami. But if you toss a couple of quality backlinks at this thing, I guarantee you this thing is going to push up to page 1 and stay there. And I've done the same thing, but in niches I don't want to reveal. But here's something that's, I'm pretty sure it's up right now still, and this would be like 2 years ago. And it's because we threw backlinks at it, if I can remember what it is. Or what is it? So recession. I think this is it. It's been a long time. Oh yes, it is. Okay, so this is it. These are videos that have been up for when have they been up? This is February 2012. So not that long ago. But let's see if the PR site is up. Yeah, here it is. It's right here. So here's the PR website right here. And that's it. And you can look at that as an example. Here's mine versus yours. It's I got the keyword in the title on here. I have one keyword here going to a site that I don't think I'm around anymore. And there's another one. I mean, yours had more backlinks. That's just not what I was going for there. That's not hurting you on that end, but I just took that site and we threw some backlinks at it, and they stick at that point. So, this is not, this is kind of a little bit more expensive way to go. If I had $200 and I said, I'm going to dedicate this $200 to backlinking, instead of a PR web, I would get, you could get, for $200, you could get 5. You could get about 6 to 7, maybe 8 private PRs from GoDaddy auction. PRs, ones and twos, and ages of at least 5 or older. I would get those myself because then you're getting, for each one of those, you're going to get about 50 links going outbound to your sites. So 50 times 8, it's 400 quality links. You do not need that many. Okay. I'm talking, you need 1 or 2, maybe 4 from these sites going to your homepage and a couple more to your inner pages, and you're going to feel the power of it. That's the best way to use $200, in my opinion. That's what I would do. But so, anyways, this is back in May, and obviously it's been a while. To make the most of this, I would take this. I would send some good backlinks to this and push up to page 1. So then you've got this as a regular property there. Okay, great question. Boom. Alrighty. So, okay. Please show us one of your blogs from your blog network, exactly how you used to create the backlinks for your local online clients. Do you write a short article about the client and link it? Do you have a widget? Blog rules, where do you place the backlinks? Do you simply have a page that has a lot of links on it? Okay. People have asked it before. I'm not going to show blog networks because then you can go to blog networks and then you can find out almost every single niche, or at least a good group of niches that I'm in, and so for those obvious reasons, I don't want to show that. I've been transparent with a few niches that I'm in, and I've had people they can't help themselves. Some people just can't help themselves. They have to go out and copy that exact same damn thing. So that's why I just don't do it anymore. But anyways, it's just, you don't overcomplicate this thing. You're just doing posts. That's all you're doing. You're just doing posts. You're doing, I would do 50 to 100, set it up on the homepage. It's just a good original article. 1, maybe 2 backlinks per article at the very most, backlinking to your site. It's just that simple. Okay. Also, I have some 5 and 8-year-old domains that mostly I haven't used, although a couple of them, some old content on them. Would they be candidates for blog network? Yes, absolutely they would be, because they have age on it. Maybe it's just a PR0. That's fine. Absolutely, I would do that. Do they have to have a local connection to the customer? No, they don't, but I think I've covered that. About the ideal thing would be to have it themed out. I have some mortgage and solar domains. Can I use them for auto repair? I covered that before. I'd either make an indexing site, like a local indexing site. Then you could use it for all of those because that would look natural. Or I would divide them up. If you're into mortgage, which is a great lead business to be in, those guys will pay a lot for those leads. It would be worth theming that out and having some of your blog networks just for like mortgages, and it doesn't all have to be about mortgage aside. I mean, the mortgage could be anything about purchasing home, financing, refinancing, selling your home, this kind of articles and stuff. So, okay, that's going to wrap it up. I'll just check the question box really quickly, see if there's any kind of urgent thing. Is that the 199 site on the PR web? I don't know if that is or not. See, that's the thing. That's you can get that PR web like that for the $98 one. But the $199 comes with their whole slew of, you're just going to get more backlinks to it. So I don't know which one, but I would recommend the 191. If you get the 191, you can always log in and search for Google and go PR web coupon, and you'll get a $50 coupon. So actually be $150. But I think in this time and age today, a better use of that money would be to invest in a little blog network. Jason, all of our webinars are always recorded, and they're always placed in the members area. It usually takes about 24 or 36 hours to get them up, but we put them in there. There's by now I don't know, there's over 2 years worth actually of these coaching calls recorded. You certainly don't need to watch them all. I would start with the most recent ones if you're behind on that. Bruce asks in here, would you use Fiverr gigs to put out PRs and save the 195? That would be an option as long as it's quality, the highest quality, high quality stuff, and they have really good reviews. All right, cool, Kathy. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for sending all the questions. Awesome stuff. The better questions that come in, the better that the time can be spent. We all benefit from your questions. And remember, start thinking now what you want to do for the new year and get started on it now. So you got a running start. You've got momentum comes where everyone else is still, they're still just thinking about it. Then get started now and do it. And just stay persistent. It takes so little to be in the 1%. It just takes about 10% extra effort every day than everyone else, 10% more effort than everyone else will do consistently day in and day out. And my name is Chris Winters. I'm going to serve first, earn more, and live more. Take care. Bye-bye.